Woo! This isn't a booster box. Well, welcome to something I like to call Flavor of the Month. This is where I will go over some of my decks, mostly the ones that I just build that month and will take apart. However, we're doing something, first episode of this series, we'll do something a little different. This is my Psi Master Thopterist deck. So, it's Golems. I'm going over my Golem deck. Basically, a quick overview, I'll put him back up there. Psi is whenever you cast an artifact spell, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter with flying, and pay 2, sack 2 artifacts, and you draw a card. So it's a plain, simple guy. Basically, the deck will, turn 3, you're going to play Psi. It's very nice and simple. This isn't too overly expensive or anything like that. So I'm just going to hop right into it, see how this goes, do a trial run, and go from there. So we'll start, and I'm going to quickly go through these. So, as you can see, it's Golem Tribal. They're not, and it's cheap Golem Tribal. This deck, I put it together. There will be a list if anyone really wants to play this abomination by themselves. It's all the lower end Golems. You have a couple big beefy boys like Phyrexian Colossus. This guy can transform. Majoring Responder, it doesn't untap, but it can deal 7 damage. It's a 7/7. So you have a lot of big, beefy boys. Like there's a 7/7 8-drop with Cascade. And there's very small guys. Like you have the 1/1 Iron Bully, the 1/1 Chromination, Dune Mover, because it helps get you land. One of the only non-golems, and there's a few of them, surprisingly enough, Chief of the Foundry, because it gives all your other artifacts +1/+1, so your Thopters are 2/2s instead of just 1/1s. But for the most part, you have really small golems, aside from Tritiform. If you can get Defender off this, you got a 10/10. That's it. You're seeing golems. So now we're at the real stars of the show. These are the important creatures of the deck. Mycosynth Golem, this is the heavy hitter, because what you want to do, as you see, it's a 4/5, 11-drop, but affinity for artifacts, and it gives artifact creature spells affinity for artifacts. So, part of the goal of this deck is to get the Mycosynth Golem out, have it on board, maybe you pay 4 mana, because at this point you've played rocks and all kinds of other things, which again, there's more into the deck, but this is the driving force of this deck. You have him out, he's on the battlefield, and then you kind of just keep dumping creatures onto the hand, getting you more Thopters. That's our boy here. Mycosynth Golem is the engine that runs everything. So, to get him out, we have really the only tutor, I'm pretty sure, because again, this is budget, this is like a $100 deck, is Conduit of Ruin. So, Conduit of Ruin, when you cast him, you may search your library for a colorless creature card with CMC 7 or greater, reveal it, then shuffle your library and put that card on the top. The first creature spell you cast each turn costs 2 less to cast, so you're playing pretty much a colorless deck aside from 2 creatures. So you're going to reduce the first 2, you're going to have your Mycosynth Golem off of Conduit of Ruin. So there's your friend there. Roaming Throne, amazing Golem, and he's in here because I pulled him from one of my videos. Roaming Throne, Ward 2. As Roaming Throne enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. What you're going to do is you're going to choose Human or Artificer, because Roaming Throne is the addition to that type. If a triggered ability of another creature you control of the chosen type triggers, it triggers an additional time. So, for every Golem, every colorless card, every artifact that you are playing, when you have Roaming Throne in conjunction with your Psi, you're going to get 2 lovely Thopters. So that's why Roaming Throne is here. You'll never choose Golem with Roaming Throne. You'll just choose Human or Artificer. Then we have Chief Engineer. He's in here for a little bit of fun. Artifact spells you have Convoke. So you can tap all your Thopters and play whatever Golem your heart desires. That's why he's in here. And Broadstar. Broadstar is only in here because it was the first deck I ever purchased when I was, I think, like 12, when I think this is what Mirrodin was on the shelves. I bought the deck, never played it, but I remember the art of this card because it always looked really cool. I think it was like a mirror deck. So what actually started this, I wanted to put this card in the deck. From Mirrodin, I went, bought a Mirrodin one, and here we are. I just thought Golem Tribal would be funny, and I could use Broadstar in it. So Broadstar is in the deck. Affinity for artifacts. Power and toughness are equal to the number of artifacts you control. In this deck, aside from a board wipe, you're going to have a lot of artifacts. So, which will get us to the next part of the deck, your utility artifacts. All very simple. Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Stone, Thought Vessel for a max hand size, which is very important. Bath, as I call them, Bath Salt Monolith, Commander Sphere, Mind Stone, Lotus, all rocks. These are all rocks because you play a rock, you get a Thopter. Play a rock, you get more mana to put out more golems. That's it. You have a decent amount of rocks for mana fixing. Those are all your rocks. We know what rocks do. One of them gives you maximum hand size, and the rest are just in there. So some utility artifacts. We have Staff of Domination. Has all the lovely things here. Mostly what you're going to do for it is untapping target creature. 3 is a lot to make it, but 3 is better than paying, I think it's like 8 life for Phyrexian Colossus, or 7 life for Majoring Responder. So you're going to use this to untap your big things, and if you have a lot of mana left over, I mean, you can draw a card with it if you really want. That's why that's in here. Artifact-based deck, you need an Unwinding Clock. It's a staple. It's a staple of artifact decks. Unwinding Clock is an easy inclusion. I personally like the shrines, so this one is the Shrine of Piercing Vision, the blue shrine. At the beginning of your upkeep or whenever you cast a blue spell, put a charge counter on Shrine of Piercing Vision. Tap it, sacrifice it, look at the top X cards of your library where X is the number of charge counters on this shrine. Put one of those cards in your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So as long as the game progresses and you're looking for one of your win conditions that are in here or your Mycosynth Golem, you just have this sitting there and you can look at the top X cards of your deck. Fits the artifact theme, fits the mono blue theme of the deck, so that's why that is an inclusion in here. Yes. Next we have 3 different Planeswalkers. Jace is in here for the card draw. I never went to his -10 to mill. This is just to keep your hand size fresh because you want your Golem out. You need Golems to play. So the other sub-theme of this deck is card draw. Blue likes card draw. That's why it's a mono blue Golem artifact deck. So Jace helps you card draw. It helps others card draw, but it helps, you're part of the card draw there. Narset is to shut off the other people's card draws. Each opponent can't draw more than one card each turn. So if you have Jace out and Narset, you can plus Jace, and you're the only one getting the benefit. Then -2, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a non-creature, non-land from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So you can get an artifact off of it if you really want to. Most of the time, I personally don't minus her. I just let her sit there, so it's a target for other people. Then you have Mr. Tezzeret here. +1 makes you a Thopter. Thopters fit into the theme of the deck. It's in here. The 0 is you draw a card. If you control 3 or more artifacts, you draw 2. So free card draw for an artifact-heavy deck. Still haven't gotten to the -9, but you get an emblem at the beginning of your end step. Search your library for a permanent card, put it on the battlefield, shuffle your library. It's great. It's essentially another tutor, if you're lucky enough to get it there, which I have not been, but that is the Tezzeret of this deck. So pretty straightforward so far. Next, we're going to get into everything that's not a land, basically. The instant and sorceries of the deck, and 2 more of your conditions for hopefully winning the game, if you choose so. Fact or fiction, reveal the top 5, opponent separates into piles, you pick a pile. Nice and simple. Mind Spring, draw X cards. Blue Sun Zenith, draw X cards. Transcendent Message, Can invoke, withdraw X cards. Even the score, draw X cards. Flow of knowledge, draw a card for each island you control. You're going to have a lot of them. Then discard 2 cards. So, again, card draw, card draw, card draw. You're going to have the mana off your rocks. You just can put it all in, draw multiple cards, and put them onto the battlefield if you have Mycosynth Golem. Again, the engine of this deck is around Mycosynth Golem. Opt-in Preordain, just fixations for your hand. That's why those are in here. Efficient Construction. It's an enchantment, 4-drop enchantment. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact. Again, just another way to keep manufacturing artifacts using Psi on the battlefield. Because then you're getting 2 for every card you play. If you're lucky enough with having Roaming Throne, you'll get 3. So you're compounding with that. The 2, sure, I'll put that back. That is here. So the 2 very important things for the rest of the deck is All Is Dust and Sleep. You don't have too many high-end win cons. Sleep is essentially tap all creatures target player controls. Those creatures don't untap during that player's untap step. Put all the creatures to sleep. They don't wake up. Then you hit them hard with a bunch of golems and Thopters. All Is Dust is essentially the same thing. Each player sacrifices all colored permanents he or she controls. Yes, you'll lose your Broadstar and your Psi and your Chief Engineer guy, but you're going to be the one with a lot of artifact creatures, and your rocks are colorless as well. This is a very important card to the deck because you have to have, it gets you around all that other removal, and you'll be the one with the big board, and they're going to have nothing. All Is Dust is a must for this deck. You definitely need to have it in there. So, with all of that, that's mainly the deck. That's pretty much it there. I'll go through the lands because you'll have a few that are helpful. Godless Commons, enters, return a land to your hand, taps for 2. Seat of the Scion? Sure. Can't pronounce things sometimes. It's an artifact land, so it counts if it's the theme. Rivendell, basically, it enters tap unless you control a legendary creature, adds mana, and then 2 tap, you can scry 2, only if you control a legendary creature. Thigh is pretty much always on the battlefield for you. Then you Psi and scry. Reliquary Tower, no maximum hand size. Shrine of the Forsaken Gods, 1 to your mana pool, add 2, only to cast colorless spells, and if you control 7 or more lands. But again, the most of the deck is colorless spells. Then the meat, it's cheap. Again, we play budget. It's just a bunch of islands. Just a little bit, a bunch of islands in here. That's it. That's all it is just islands. The rest of the deck is islands. So, that's it, man. That's what we're playing. We're playing Psi some of these games. I like to sit there, build up a board, and maybe attack someone. I like being a threat. I'm there. I'm the enforcer. I'm like, yeah, if you do something, I might come at you. You just don't really know. So, that's it. That is my Psi Master Thopterist deck for the Flavor of the Month series that we will be starting. I haven't decided yet, but there will be a deck list pinned either in the comments or a link to where I put it on one of the other sites, maybe like EDH Rack or something else if it breaks it down really nice for everybody. So it's not just a wall of text, but there will be a true deck list if you want to build this specific deck available. So, if you made it this far, thank you. Possible upgrades? Come on, you can put Blightsteel, Darksteel. You can make this better by removing some of the really trash golems if you would like. I know it's a thing. When I was first spinning, this is the second deck I've ever built. So I was just trying to do something cheap. I wanted to make it foil. Golems were cheap. And golems, I think, are cool. So that's just how it got there. You can obviously improve it. Those would be 2 very good starting points that I can think of off the top of my head because it fits Golem Tribal. And then other things to give your creatures +1/+1, like 3-Tree City would be nice. You're playing a bunch of golems. It would help with your mana fixing. So there are upgrades to the deck that you can do, but this is just a base version for budget purposes, and maybe you'll enjoy it, and maybe this will make you want to build it and build a better version of Golem Tribal. So thanks for making it this far. If you enjoyed, subscribe for more series. I'm going to try and do this about once a month for Flavor of the Month. That's just what I'm going to call the series. So thank you. Subscribe if I made you smile and you enjoy hearing someone ramble for a little while with a little upbeat energy. John _Deadcorn. Peace out, y'all. See ya, sigh. Yeah, Golem.